when I was asked by Rimmel to do this presentation, we talked back and forth about topics, and the one that we settled on was special collections in a digital age. And I'm going to actually share with you it's a combination of thoughts and, quite frankly, political and organizational struggles that I've been going through for the last 20 plus years or so, primarily in the context of my work at the Schomburg Center and as part of the New York Public Library. And it's been about this question of, quotes, special collections. And in order to start this, I mean, it's very interesting. I picked up a copy of a report from the Association of Research Libraries. They published something in 2009 called Special Collections in ARL Libraries. And the first thing that I observed was they were having some difficulty defining what special collections were. And I'm going to read the text that they put down. This is a commission of ARL library folk who, the majority of whom were involved in special collections in some way, shape, or form or another. But listen to this. The term, quote, special collections, end quotes, has been used in North American libraries in many different ways. One of the more restricted uses designates special collections as rare books, generally dating from the dawn of European printing to some point in the 19th century, with the addition of rare editions and special printings of a later date, often known as book arts. That was statement number one. Still trying to define. More often, the term is used to include manuscripts, archival collections of mixed format, including prints, drawings, photographs, and graphic materials such as maps, theatrical publications, pamphlets, advertising, posters, and sometimes newspapers. That was statement number two. Still trying to define. Third, special collections also can be extended to include distinct collections of material relating to a particular subject or part of the world, or sometimes reflecting the output of a particular publisher. Statement number three. By the end of the 20th century, collections of most libraries of any size had proliferated into numerous additional formats: film, and video, and audio tapes, and microfilm, and other formats for written communication. A new information revolution also had established born digital materials as an essential part of the holdings of research libraries. Statement number four. And then they say, and this is the concluding thing, special collections as used in this report ecumenically. Our thinking has embraced the library's stewardship of any kind of vehicle of information and communication that lacks readily available and standardized classification schemes. So, if you can't classify it, it must be special. And anything that is vulnerable to destruction or disappearance without special treatment. So, if you can't classify it and it's at risk, it must be special collection. Thus, and this is still concluding, thus we have included websites as well as fragile printed ephemera and rare books and all other formats mentioned above in our definition of special collections. Now, my point of departure is this: that libraries have historically been book-centric enterprises. They've been organized around the book, and their staffs and budgets and space allocations have been servants of the book, and more recently of serials, the serials publishing trade. Special collections in libraries, on the other hand, have frequently had their origins in the efforts of private collectors to acquire and preserve rare books. Such was the case with Dr. Alfonso Schomburg, a Puerto Rican of African descent who was the founder of the Schomburg collection and the precursor which was the precursor of the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. Now, at the beginning of the 20th century, all people of African descent in the world, except those living in Ethiopia, Haiti, and Liberia, were living under some form of European colonial domination. And the ideological justification for this state of affairs was the myth that black people had no history, they had no culture, and that they were inherently intellectually inferior to whites. This myth had both justified slavery, continued to justify the system of racial segregation in the United States, eventually ends up justifying apartheid and European colonialism throughout the rest of the world. And behind it was that the people of African descent were somewhere at a lower level on the scale of human existence. That black folks somehow or another were something less than human. And so to justify the myth of basically imposing their power on others, you had to prop up this myth that they were, by their nature, inherently inferior. Schomburg initially collected books by and about blacks to refute this myth of black racial inferiority. He was one of several bibliophiles, including Jesse Mooreland, for whom the Mooreland-Springarn Research Center is named, of the late 19th and early 20th century, who sought to document the place and role of people of African descent in the making of human history and human civilization. He used as his, and this is Schomburg, used as his guide, a bibliographic work by the French Roman Catholic priest and abolitionist Henri Gregoire, entitled, and this is roughly an English translation, entitled Of the Literature of Negroes, Researches on the Intellectual Faculties and Moral Qualities of Their Literature. This book was published in 1808. Schomburg combed the bookmarks of the United States and sent friends wandering around the world looking for copies of all the books that were included in the Gregoire publication. And he collected as many of them as he possibly could. Schomburg was first and foremost then a bibliophile, a collector of books on the black experience, with both an intellectual and a political purpose. Given his intellectual and political agenda, it's not surprising that at some point in time, Schomburg added to his collection scope other forms of documentation, including manuscripts, photographs, prints, serials, and artworks, to mention only a few. If they documented the presence and role of blacks in any field of human endeavor, Schomburg collected them. It's part of his growing evidentiary base. And if you can think about this for a minute, there's this myth of black racial inferiority. And how do you beat down this myth? Well, you gather evidence. And if you can think of each book, each manuscript, each document as a piece of evidence in a law forum, in a court environment, this is evidence that blacks can think. This is evidence that blacks can write. This is evidence that they have performed in a variety of other fields to the equal of and at times better than whites and other peoples. Here's this body of evidence. By 1926, when the New York Public Library acquired it, the Schomburg had amassed a collection of more than 10,000 items. Because of its subject focus and diversity of formats, it was designated a special collection of the New York Public Library, housed in the 135th Street branch of the New York Public Library in Harlem. The growth and development of the Schomburg collection between 1926 and the 1970s led to the New York Public Library to transform it into a freestanding research unit of the New York Public Library and rename it the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. This occurred in 1972. It essentially became one of the 4 research libraries of the New York Public Library, as contrasted with the 87 branches that comprised that institution. Now, I became director of the Schomburg Center in 1984, and one of my first tasks was to repurpose the Schomburg Collection's original building, a 10,000 square foot facility that previously had housed the 135th Street branch and the place where the Schomburg Collection had been deposited, as I mentioned. When the New York Public Library created a new facility for the 135th Street branch in 1941, the entire 10,000 square foot building became the home of the Schomburg Center. And it remained so until 1980 when it moved to a new facility right adjacent to it, 4 years before I arrived. The new building had been designed to house the General Research and Reference Collection and the Manuscripts and Archives and Rare Books Collection. Tucked away in the corners of the Schomburg Manuscript Division were art, photograph, and print materials. And one staff member who had personally gotten the bug had started collecting film and videotape and sound recordings and stashing them in a corner in the building as well. I approached the task of repurposing the original building with several questions in mind. Number one, what is the role of these other than manuscript, quote, special collections in a research library? Two, how do they relate to the book and manuscript holdings that comprise the overwhelming majority of the materials in the library? Third, what is their research value as opposed to their artifactual value? And fourth, should we continue to grow these collection formats? And again, within the context of an evolving research library, toward what end? In other words, if we're going to continue to collect photographs and art and prints and film, videotape, and sound recording, what are we collecting this stuff for? Finally, what is the role of these materials in a research and preservation enterprise such as the Schomburg Center? While the Schomburg Center had built a strong reputation as a repository of books on the Black experience, it had by the 1980s also come to be recognized as a distinguished repository of manuscript and archival materials on this subject. Its multi-volume dictionary catalog, which had been published in the 1960s, had become the gold standard for college and university libraries in this country and around the world who were seeking to assess the strength of their holdings on the Black experience. And its association with Arnold Press and with other reprint houses had made it one of the leading sources of reprint publications of classic works on the Black experience as the demand for these materials grew with the emergence of Black studies as a field. The existence and relative strength of these other collections, especially the art and photographs and prints and film and recorded sound holdings, challenge us to either define their role in a broader research library collection universe or continue to treat them as marginal anomalies, attractive, sometimes artifactually valuable artifacts and works of art, with relatively limited resources for studying and analyzing the histories and heritage of people of African descent. Stated another way, what could these resources tell us about the Black experience that traditional print resources could not? How could they be used to complement, supplement, and at times even enhance the books and other bodies of evidence available in text-based resources? Well, two clues began to emerge as we looked at the collections themselves. First of all, Mr. Schomburg started collecting art by and about African and African diasporan peoples because it demonstrated their capacity for artistic expression. In other words, this was another piece of evidence of their ability, of their achievement. But the content of the art, especially when it dealt with African and African American subjects, did more than that. While the aesthetic character of the art was significant, its cultural content was equally so. The works of African and African diasporan artists frequently captured visually and with great precision aspects of Black cultural, social, and cultural life of diverse African peoples that textual narratives were not able to convey in printed or written form. Second, photographs and prints by and about Black people record a visual narrative of people, places, and events that may be more accurate recording than anything that was recorded in written form at that moment, at that time. What was clear about these, quote, special collection materials was that they were useful, indeed valuable, documentary resources that, when judiciously used like any other documentary resource, could provide insights into the Black experience that were not documented or preserved as well by textual materials. Film, videotapes, and radio and television programs and sound recordings were capable of providing comparable, reliable insights into that experience. They are, in my mind, then worthy of collecting, preserving, and making available for research use. Now, the repurposing of the original building then became, in repurposing the original building then, I created special study storage facilities for the art and artifacts collections and the moving image and recorded sound division materials. I created a similar study storage facility for the photograph and prints division in the basement of a space we created for a new auditorium. In cataloging these materials, we tried to provide enhanced subject access as they related to the study of the Black experience. The format-based organization of the divisions was intended to provide the optimal storage and access environments for these materials. And heat and humidity levels were adapted to their particular needs, and the physical handling of the materials required different kinds of standards from books and paper-based materials. All photos, by way of example, we put into Mylar sleeves so that they were protected from the acid and also protected from light, which you didn't have to do with other kinds of stuff. With the moving image and recorded sound materials, we set it up so that it was transmitted remotely to the user on monitors or with at listening stations, so that they didn't have to handle the originals and the originals could be preserved. All these kinds of things were taken into account. But most importantly, in providing the kind of subject access that we did, people were able to at least begin to think about using them in different kinds of ways. And I'll share this with you, which certainly was a driver. We had a scholar in residence program at the Schomburg Center. And scholars would come and spend 6-9 months a year wading through the text-based materials. And they sometimes end up spending their time writing their book. Then after they were home, they called back and said, "Do you have any photographs to illustrate my book?" When in fact, probably the best evidence they could have found for doing their topic was in the photograph collection. But unfortunately, most of our colleges and universities aren't teaching our scholars to read visual narratives, to read and use audio and audiovisual materials. That is the future. That is the future of scholarship, because, and I'll say it a little bit more clearly down the road, the documentation that used to be done on paper isn't being done anymore. And if you don't get the digital form of it, either from the computer or from these other digital sources, you won't have an evidentiary base to do serious research. But I'll say some more about that down the road. I share all this with you because my experience has convinced me that the so-called special collections have been underappreciated as essential and primary resources in research libraries and in research in general. For far too long, in my judgment, research libraries and academic research libraries in particular have been more driven by the output of the publishing industry, the books and the serials, than by the primary research resource needs of scholars and scholarship. I'll say that again. That our libraries have been more driven by the output of the publishing industry, the books and serials, than by the primary research resources needed by scholars and scholarship. While research libraries have sought to be comprehensive collectors of the products of research and scholarship, they have been very neglectful of what should be the primary focus of their mission, which is collecting and preserving and providing access to the primary resources that scholars and scholarship need to support the study of humankind and the study of the world. In a pre-digital age, the status of research libraries was measured by the number of book and serial titles they held and the rareness and uniqueness of their special collections holdings. These rare and unique holdings and special subject focused collecting brought distinction to these libraries, and you all know this story. A major university library is looking for something to distinguish it from its peers. And so they decide they're going to have the strongest collection on Latvian pincushions in the world. And they go religiously running around collecting every Latvian pincushion reference thing in the world. And they put it on, we have the strongest collection of Latvian pincushions. But of what research value is that long term? I don't know. I'm not using that really in jest, but just a lot of the decisions about what to collect and why to collect is not driven by some broader, I'll call it human research agenda, but by these other kinds of forces, other kinds of things. These rare and unique holdings and special subject-focused collections brought distinction, as I said, to these libraries and repositories. And they were more important as kind of symbols than they were in terms of their value as research resources. The emergence of the digital age has focused renewed attention on these special collections holdings. And as Google and Hockey Trust and JSTOR and others threaten to make the products of research, that is the books and serials, available to everyone in everybody's library, they are forcing research libraries to consider putting their print, book, and serial holdings in storage. They are also raising questions about what will now distinguish research libraries from other libraries, and equally significant, one research library from another. In such a context, special collections, in my judgment, should move to center stage in research library collecting and preservation. Indeed, special collections slated for growth and development should be repurposed and they should be rethought of and renamed as research collections. I need to say that again. What we've formerly been calling special collections needs to be defined as what they really are, which is the stuff of which research is done, which is research collections. Okay? And the collection and preservation and provision of access to these primary materials should begin to reshape the nature and character of America's research libraries. And while they will and must continue to acquire and provide access to commercially produced digital collecting of books and serials and other formerly printed literature, more and more their resources, space, staffs, budgets, and acquisition and preservation activity needs to be devoted to ensuring that an adequate documentary record of the human experience is preserved to support research and scholarship as well as human understanding. The digital age then poses major challenges for the traditional role of books and serials as the heart of research library operations. It also poses tremendous opportunities if we are to take up in a serious way this redefined and expanded role for what we used to call special collections, and what I'm now suggesting should be defined as research collections. A little more than 2 decades ago, I was impressed with the degree to which microfilming the Schomburg manuscript collections could extend access to them. Hundreds of sets of Schomburg manuscript collections of primary research materials were distributed to colleges and universities nationally and at times internationally. Scholars and researchers who had need to access these materials used these microform surrogates and were able to conduct in-depth research using these collections without having to travel to New York City to access them. Digital technology and the internet has now made it possible to extend similar kinds of access to similar kinds of materials globally. Now, many research libraries and others have already started to take advantage of this technology to extend access to special collections and to research materials in general. And while there are outstanding exceptions to this generalization, most library efforts to extend access to special collections have been more focused on the artifactual and prestige value of the materials than on their research value. Said another way, when we decide to go on the web with our collection, we're going to find our treasures. And we put our treasures up. And yes, they're nice, they're cute. What can a scholar do with them? Outside of observing and saying, they're nice, they're cute. What I'm suggesting is that it's time for us to begin thinking about these materials in a much more holistic way and start building them with an eye towards the ways in which they can best support the major research questions facing America and the world going forward. All too frequently, what is digitized and made available is not of sufficient breadth or depth to support sustained research on the subjects that have been chosen. And while at the Schomburg Center, my colleagues produced two products that sought to address this problem. The first was a project entitled 19th Century African American Women Writers. In it, we digitized and published some 30 volumes of writings by African American women of the 19th century as a fully keyword searchable full-text database. Still alive on the web, it allows researchers to interrogate the writings of these women within each volume and across the full database to, among other things, see what these women had to say about all aspects of 19th century living. A complementary database of some 600 images of blacks during the 19th century allows the reader to see visually some of the people, places, events, and experiences described in the text and that are characteristic of the period. This 30-volume series was originally published in 1988 as a limited edition 30-volume print series. We converted it around 2000 into an online version. Actually, that project, it wasn't 2000, it was earlier, was the first major digital project done at the New York Public Library. The Rockefeller Foundation, I believe it was, gave us some money to experiment, and we ended up being able to do it. So it was the first research resource done at the New York Public Library of a digital nature. Second project, In Motion, the African American Migration Experience, is a multifaceted online research resource on the migration of people of African descent to, within, and at times out of the United States from the period of the transatlantic slave trade down to the end of this past century. Contains both primary and secondary literature for the study of the subject, as well as photographs and prints and audio and video recordings, drawn primarily from the collections of the Schomburg Center. Digitally based audio and audiovisual technology is becoming the primary documentary resource of the 21st century. I need to say that again. Digitally based audio and video technology is likely becoming the primary documentary resource of the 21st century. Everybody has a digital camera now. Everybody's a photographer. Everybody's running around with a little video camera. Everybody's shooting stuff. And I'm not convinced that we're have yet focused on the need to start collecting that kind of material in a serious kind of way. In addition, born digital texts have all but replaced the traditional manuscript, the handwritten or printed or typed manuscript as ways of capturing and preserving correspondence and other textual material. These new forms of digital capture, text as well as digital photography and sound and audio and video, are also posing new challenges for research libraries. In addition to figuring out how to collect and preserve these newer forms of documentation and communication, copyright and other legal issues are inhibiting our ability to provide broad access to them, but collect them and preserve them we must until we figure out how to solve these legal problems. Let me conclude by noting that in various city, county, state, and federal archives, that our various city, state, county, and federal archives have done an outstanding job of preserving documentary records of the American public sector. These records are invaluable resources for supporting research and scholarship. And because of their long-term established role as preservers of America's institutional life, especially their governments and politics, their approach is systematic and to some extent comprehensive. This is not the case for our broader social, cultural, and historical and personal lives. What I would term our nation's cultural patrimony. Research library decisions about what we collect in our special collections or our redefined research collections is extremely random and is not guided by any comprehensive collection development strategy. So each of our respective research libraries is collecting whatever a particular curator decides is important, but it's not part of any larger. And we have a situation, quite frankly, where the pace of life and the scale of living has increased exponentially. And it's happening so fast, quite frankly, that as soon as we think we have figured out what it is, it's changed to something else. One of our responsibilities, it seems to me, is to begin to develop strategies for ensuring that some record of that now rapid-paced change is available for those who come behind us. More often than not, we collect these materials retrospectively, focusing on the rare and unique rather than the normative evidence of everyday living. Said another way, this approach leads us to skew our collections towards the exceptional while leaving the unexceptional, that which defines our lives from day to day, underdocumented. This is not to say that the exceptional, the extraordinary, the best should not be part of our collection strategy, but should it be its singular focus from a research point of view. Said another way, our responsibility is not to simply preserve a record of what the elites have done. And we have a responsibility to document what all of us have done. And kind of creaming off the top will not give us a deep level of understanding of who we are and what we've become and where we've come from. I suppose what I'm saying is that a bit more of a collaborative approach to collecting primary research materials would serve us and scholarship well. In a similar way, a more proactive collaboration in our digitization initiatives is also warranted. The availability of digital technology and the needs and the web now make it possible to cross our institutional boundaries and build strong subject-based digital collections of primary resources that bring together materials from diverse collections in a diversity of formats to create more holistic research foundations that can be shared across those same boundaries. Collections that have been split and deposited in multiple repositories can be reunited and made accessible as a whole. Collections now or on related subjects from diverse repositories can now be reunited to form a more comprehensive digital resource. Diverse formats of materials on the same subject can be brought together in a single website or database to support a more in-depth research. What I'm suggesting is that it's time for research libraries to begin to take more seriously their documentation and preservation roles as they relate to the raw materials that make research and scholarship, especially in the humanities, possible. Preserving the products of the scholarly enterprise is important as a record of what scholars and scholarship have thought and what we thought we knew. But preserving and making accessible the voices and images of those who have lived life and helped create our world is the stuff of which 21st century scholarship will be based. I thank you very much.